We're gonna do sign language and everything. Okay. All right, the time's 11:24. We're gonna start the meeting. We're waiting on one more, Civilian Review Board member to join in order to have quorum, but we can go through some of the meeting agenda, without quorum. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the CRB Public Meeting. My name is Peter Alvarez, Chair of the Civilian Review Board. As a note, this meeting is open to the public to attend and is being recorded through Zoom. Zoom has been set up for video recording purposes only and is not an option for public participation at this time. Public comment will not be held at this meeting. You are more than welcome to submit comments that you have to opatboards@boston.gov, and they will be acknowledged at the OPAT Commission Community Meeting, which will take place at 11 a.m. on Thursday, March 16th. I'm gonna do a roll call of CRB members. So Natalie Carithers, Reverend Wayne Daly,
Here.
Joshua Dankoff,
Here.
Ann Hernandez, Harry Mays, Amy McNamee, Tara Register,
Here.
B. Chris Sumner,
Here. Well.
and CRB Chair Peter Alvarez, myself here. Moving forward, this morning we're going to run through the agenda that you see on the screen, except for any matters that require a vote, to the extent we do not get another Civilian Review Board member in attendance today. So we'll have the introduction, review, meeting minutes will not be able to take place until another member attends. We'll hear the OPAT Executive Director's report, other business, and then we will only be able to go into executive session if another member comes into the meeting. Our first, well, not first order of business, we'll skip that. We are going to move on to the Executive Director's report. We are now going to see Director Stephanie Everett to present the report to the CRB.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Good, I haven't seen you on so long. So, first up is the, BIPOC RFP update. I know I provided some last month, but just to give you a little bit more of an update, we did get an interim report from them. So as a reminder, the consultants are Conan Harris and Strategy Matters. So Mariah, is still leading the charge on that. She's out today, but we are working with her. She's working with them to really get us some real good next steps that we can start implementing now. So we did get, at the end of last month, some real on it. We're just looking at it as a group, which includes the equity.
Can't hear you. Maybe.
It includes the equity cabinet and Boston Police Department. They're also part of this group. So we've been looking at that and just really trying to narrow down some of their recommendations on what we can do around promotion. So it was inclusive of the promotion exam itself, some retention work. So how do we really give some applause to some of the work of officers who are deserving, and things of that sort. So we'll have a little bit more to provide to you at your next meeting about what that looks like, and we do plan to present this to the commissioner and also give you the report then too, but we want to make sure we share it with the commissioner prior to sharing it with everyone else. Next thing, which Josh is going to like, is that we've started to move into our policy arena. So one of the things that we had to do at OPAT was really go through our own ordinance and make sure that we were checking the boxes on the things that we were legally obligated to do as far as the dashboards, our own policy internally. And so we're happy to report that our dashboards have been checked off, all the things that we were required, and then some. So as you know, Mariah did a great job of adding the youth dashboard, which was not a requirement, but was necessary, onto our website. And after doing that deep dive, we knew that the next thing was to go back, look at our task force recommendations too, but also start looking at some of the ways in which we can strengthen and continue to build strong ties with NBPD in our community, by looking at their policies and what we can do there. So one of the things which you may have heard if you listened to the mayor and the Boston Police Commissioner Cox yesterday is that we've been working on the missing persons report. So we'll continue to do that. The report's heavy, but I've been, my team, also working with the Equity Cabinet again, have been looking and updating that, and some highlights should be coming out on that soon. So you can look forward to that, but we have others that we have seen just from the work that you all have been doing. My team gets a lot of things that I think we see recycled over and over again. And there's just some procedures that BPD themselves are already doing. They just may not always be reflective in their policy. So just really trying to make sure that they are, there's some transparency in that, but you see it on the website if you went and looked and said, what is the policy on that? Last month, we took on another key thing of getting to know OPAC. I know there was a question earlier about the whole newspapers and media thing. I'm not a big fan of media. You say certain things, they all don't make it on there, but we've been doing real good work here trying to, and I say we, inclusive of you all, on this board, of getting the community to know who we are, what we do, and how we can be of service to them, and asking the question of what else can we do? What else do you want to see us do? So we held 3 listening sessions, and I think that's when I started my whole media tour. So some of the key takeaways were people did want to have more time with you all as a board, and how do we incorporate that? We do give out a lot of information at the OPAC commission meeting, but not at the board or panel meetings. And we're trying to figure out how we can do that, because you all's meetings for the work that you're doing, and not a lot of it is for the public conversation. So whether it's having you all come to the commission meetings or trying to give out more public information during the time before we start you all's meetings, we're just going to figure out how that looks so that the community, if they do engage you all early during the community that's here now, if they come in, that they are given more information than just my director's report. So we're really trying to figure out what that looks like. Also, everyone really loved the data. I think there was a lot of shock around the youth data. A lot of people wanted more information about what we can be doing as a collective to work with the youth, because at the time that we were doing this, there was a lot of the unfortunate passing of our youth going on at the same time. So really trying to figure out what we do with this data and how we as a community take this data, working collectively to build from that. And then just developing more ways in which everyone works together on policy. So we're going to take all of that in and figure out what we can do, and also just still figuring out ways to get in to our community to make them know that this is okay to come here, right? So I want to make sure I address that. I know that it's still going to be a uphill battle to have a government agency that people feel comfortable coming to, right? Like this is still a government agency that people are going to still look at and question, why would I go there, right? I have struggled with this myself. I think when I talked to my own son, I told him what he should do if he's ever stopped by the police, but I've never once told him what he should do if he's uncomfortable. And so that's a different conversation to have. And so we have a lot more work to do to make people feel comfortable coming here, and we'll continue to do that work, continue to work with our youth, and that goes into the work we are doing. And our Youth Advisory Council did meet at the end of the month. And so I'm hoping that they can help us develop those tools, even as a parent, as an adult, like how do we get them to have that conversation with their friends, and have that conversation with police officers, so that maybe we don't have those conversations the next generation, right? Let's say we don't have any of those conversations, but we have to start someplace. So our youth council, they're cute. They're the sweetest things. If you all haven't come, they have their schedule set up for the rest of the year. They're coming in every other month. If you're interested, please let me know. They have their own little way of how they're gonna do things. The next thing is to do their structure. How, you know, if they're gonna have a chair or a president, they're gonna do that next. But the first thing was to set their calendar and see how that's going to work, and then really incorporate them with some of the other youth programs that are going on within the city. But I'm looking forward to the conversations that come from those meetings and how we can better serve our youth and better inform the work that you all do, that I do, and the Boston Police Department does. So that's what I have. Anyone have any questions for me? I know there's been a lot going on.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you for the update on the policy question. I'm curious how that relates to 12-16.9F, the CRB's role to provide timely review of existing or proposed BPD policies and procedures and recommendations.
We're still writing them, so you'll get it.
You're right. What does that mean?
We're revising it now, so there's nothing for you to look at until it's.
But
Do you have recommendations that you want to offer to me?
Sure. If maybe 6 weeks before our next meeting, assuming our next
So it's gonna
scheduled meeting.
Yeah.
Does BPD let you know about proposed policy changes or
No,
existing things? Okay.
this is not a BPD act.
Okay. How are we supposed to know what proposed BPD policies are? Ask the BPD what their proposed policies are.
That's the ordinance proposed. If you have something that you would like, let me know.
Sure, I would
But
like.
I'm not working on anything that was asked of me.
Okay.
That, hopefully you understand what I'm saying.
What do you propose?
Well, I'm proposing that OPAT staff provides to the board a month or 6 weeks before our meeting, either proposed BPD policies or some collection, or we tick off 1 or 2 existing BPD policies that we can then look at individually and then discuss at the next meeting to provide recommendations for the revisions of those policies to the police commissioner per the ordinance. So what the ask is to prioritize existing policies and provide 1 or 2 to us with some time frame before, so we're on notice and can look at them and come to the meeting and then have on the agenda policy discussion, and that will be something that we do as a board per the ordinance.
I think
Just for clarifying, clearly that we have no real voting power with that process. Assuming we're bringing this up, if a policy comes forward, that at least there's been dialogue on this level so that we're not embedded in the policies we may not agree with.
Sure, it says that we can provide recommendations for the revision, so it would be a chance for us to actually do that.
One thing I would want to note is that we don't even have quorum today, so that in terms of the work we need to get to is to look at the cases, review them. Obviously that is in the ordinance as well. But one of the things is we need to do the main mandate here, and is start running through the cases. And
Absolutely.
Unfortunately today, and apologies to OPAT staff and the community here and the community online, that there isn't a quorum today and that it wasn't known ahead of time. And, it is something that, as a board, we really need to get to the cases and get through the cases. And I do think it's important to build the infrastructure to make dispositions on the cases and findings. And I think that's we can walk and chew gum at the same time, but we have to do one of them first. And I think, getting to the cases and processing them are kind of the first mandate. And I want to spend as much time as possible kind of setting that up and doing that before we get to the next level. And I agree. I mean, I do think that that's an important part of what we are mandated to do. And we have that ability to do that. I do want to make sure that we build the infrastructure to get through these cases and kind of, get through the backlog at this point that we have. That's just my, you know, my view on it. I want to make sure that, like, we focus on processing the cases at hand. There's a lot of them, and we need quorum to go through them. So, you know, if there's nothing else on that point or any other questions,
Well,
Stephanie?
I'll just say, I couldn't agree more with you, Chair, about the cases and the importance of working through them as a board. That is, certainly our core mandate. And I would add that we can't do it without quorum today, and we also can't do it without a matrix.
Yeah.
So to the extent to which there's still no matrix in place, to process the cases as the ordinance suggests, there are other ways for us to operate, and do policy. So I just want to put it again on the record that I hope that there's a matrix.
And
There was one today that I don't know about, and we're not going to talk about.
And I will reaffirm, I have the same hopes, and I want to make sure that we, in either case, we're going to process cases, and we're not going to let it, like, hold us back at this point. So, you know,
Okay.
I think that's going to be an important thing to think about, but I do want to get the focus on getting through our cases. Does anyone else have questions for
Quick one.
the Director?
My deepest apologies for whatever meetings I've missed, but I'm really kind of burdened with how far behind are we from a board integrity standpoint of view. What could we do in the meantime to get ahead, so that we're serving the community around these cases? I know that we now have to wait to the next.
No, we can, what we're about to do, an agenda item in the new business that I'm gonna add is like calendaring for all of us here right now, so that we can figure out when we are available, and then, you know, kind of picking some dates that are more current and like coming up. But that'll be the next item if we get through, like, are we done on this? Okay. All right, so now we'll go to, thank you. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Director Everett. So moving on to other business, I propose other business for us here to kind of get our calendars out and pick when the next meeting can be, so that, you know, at least amongst the five of us, there's, you know, barring illness or emergency, there's, you know, we should all be here, and we need to pick a date. Preferably it would be within, you know, once you're getting up to the April it should be before April break. And so it should be, you know, ideally within the next 2 weeks. If we could do a Tuesday, that'd be good, just to kind of keep the regular meeting attendance, but, you know. Yes.
Looking at things to find out what dates.
Yeah, what dates would be for OPAT?
I think, first, oh, March 28th. I thought we were in April already.
Yeah, no. March 28th.
That works for me.
Yeah, it'll be afternoon.
Afternoon.
Morning, same time?
You mean like 11 a.m. or like later than that?
Like after, at 12 p.m. would be ideal.
Really?
12 can work. 12 to, like, I mean, I'll make that work. I have an event later in the evening, but I think we can make that work.
Together, Chad. You're gonna.
Do this board retreat. We're on board retreat gather.
Oh, 28th.
What is Wednesday the?
After the 28th.
That one is when you go back to the regular cabinet.
What does Wednesday the 29th look like? And by the way, on the 28th, I could do like starting at 12:30 or 12, but, you know, just for the record, but the 29th, the 29th, I'm really clear, so if we want to start at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., like, I don't know what, For some folks, I feel like it could be easier to start at 9, because it's not smack dab in the middle of your day, but for me, it may not, because I do drop off, but I can make accommodations that day, but
The 29th can work for me, but not at 9, from 11.
11?
11 on the 29th.
I could do 11 as well.
11, the 29th, 11 on March 29th?
Yep.
Okay, 11 on March 29th works as well. I think that's the best time in order to kind of get things done expeditiously.
Here.
Yes,
I'm curious, what is the case count at this?
I mean, we got the cases that are here on in the agenda, but it won't, yeah,
We won't add any cases.
yeah.
Okay.
It'll be those, yeah.
I will say, I'm gonna ask a favor. Can we have both the 28th and the date for you all? So the 28th at the 12:30 time, the 29th at 11, just because we have quorum and we need to ask both.
Yeah,
For safety, that they also be available on those, so we'll pick the 29th as the date, but in case you don't get at least 2, I think you wanna have at least 2 people,
yes.
you don't wanna have it.
So 12:30 on Tuesday, just to recite it, 12:30 on Tuesday, the 28th, and then also 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the 29th. Just hold both days. When does the team think that they could let us know when they get in contact with the other folks, like maybe the end of this week? Yeah,
But, hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have
yeah,
confirmation, so your whole shouldn't last you,
yeah,
at least 48 hours, give it.
yeah, okay,
It's up to you, your board members when they
Yeah.
respond.
yeah,
But we'll just hold them, but we'll make Wednesday the priority, second day option is the 28th,
Tuesday, the 20th, okay.
okay?
All right, thank you very
We
much.
appreciate you.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate all of you that came here today from the OPAT team, the public care, and the other board members. I know it wasn't a great, weather day, but I do, as being representatives of the public appointed, we do need to make sure that we're all here, and to the extent that, we can't make it, we let the team know so that we're not, that the rest of us aren't showing up and the public isn't showing up and we're not here. It's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate. Really wanted to get through this today. So that's neither here nor there. But is there any other new business to discuss? I think we have our dates for a rescheduled meeting to go through the cases, but wanted to know if there was any other new business before we get moving. So if there's no new business, I will motion for the meeting to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded. All right, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous. The meeting adjourns at 11:48 a.m.
Thank you all.